things that aren't crimes in Canada. We can't. We don't. She may or may not have violated the sanctions that the Americans have on Iran. We actively did not support those sanctions, and we don't honor those sanctions in Canada. Therefore, in Canada, she's done nothing wrong. So we get to argue that and say, no, we're not going to punish this lady for something that's not a crime. And then we get to go back to court in June and sue, where she is suing the CBSA for never actually arresting her for anything.
Yeah.
Or detaining her without arresting her. So it's just gonna, this is just massive waste of court's time.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, the two guys rotting in China get no mention whatsoever.
Still no word whatsoever.
This poor lady's being held in her $15 million mansion. They're literally like in a box in the ground somewhere in China with the coronavirus. They're probably injecting it into those two to see how bad it is.
I'm just quickly reading about it, and one of the things, like, literally, here's the description. Ming, 47, arrived in the Vancouver courtroom wearing a dark top with polka dots.
Yeah.
Why is a woman's fashion always mentioned? Oh, it's so fucked up.
Oh. These two guys rotting in a box. The only bright polka dots are on their skin from the viruses they're contracting. They're getting no news whatsoever. Like, could someone at least give us some hope that they're even alive? You think? And why doesn't she say something? She must know. Like, I'm sure someone in the last, however fucking long this has been, 2 years or whatever, has said to her, "Hey, after we pinched you, they pinched 2 Canadians, but they say it's not related."
Yeah.
I don't know.
It just happened to be within the same week, whatever.
Maybe she doesn't care. Maybe she's like, fuck those guys.
I bet you she is like, fuck those guys.
I have no as much as I want her to win this thing, I have absolutely no indication that she's a good person. Like, she's a very high-ranking Chinese CFO in a company that's known to be a pretty shady fucking company. And she was undeniably doing business in Iran. Not exactly the greatest bunch of people. So she's probably not a good person. We're pretty convinced China's the devil. And Iran's like a mini devil. And she was doing business to make sure the two work together. She's probably evil. She's probably the super most evil woman.
It's funny that you say, because you mentioned with Iran. It's like, literally, here's one of the things. Quote, who is this? This is a federal policy expert and lawyer, not involved with the case.
Of course.
But he might be, I don't know, some guy who knows a lot about shit. But he says that since this being a case, he goes, I think the defense has a slam dunk. There are no Iranian sanctions in Canada, and anything the prosecutors bring up that's related to an Iranian sanction in Canada may well be dismissed.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious in the sense, because you're talking about, so here we can prove that there's something shitty happened, but we can't talk about it.
Sure. And that's fine. It's not our problem. That's what I've been saying from day one. I don't care. It's not our problem. And I do love the fact that there is absolutely no evidence that Huawei has been spying on anyone in the world ever. But there's direct evidence that the U.S. was spying on her through her iPhone. Huawei is bad, and they put spy cameras in all their phones. Yeah, but the only one we can prove is the one you did in your American-made iPhone. You shut up, devil.
You shut up, devil. You don't know nothing. I'm from Alabama. In the same article, it literally says, so literally, that paragraph I just read was related to the Iranian sanction. Canada may well be dismissed. Soon after Meng's arrest, China detained 2 Canadians, former Canadian diplomat Michael Kavorig and businessman Michael Spaver. China has denied their arrest were related to Meng's case. Quote, the clear priority for everyone in our government is the release and well-being of Michael and Michael. That is at the heart of all the work we are doing, and rightfully so, said our Deputy Prime Minister, Freeland, whoever the fuck his name is, something Freeland.
Christian.
Yeah, so you've done nothing.
Yeah. No.
It's not the heart of anything. It's not the heart of all the work. If this is what the heart of all your work is doing, you should not be doing this work.
And they both stood up and said, look, it's not up to us. It's up to the beard.
Yeah, exactly.
What the beard says goes. If the beard tells Justin that it's time to get these guys, we will get these guys. But we can't do anything until the beard makes a decision. I just picture everyone in Canada. They're like the little green things in Toy Story now. Everyone just the beard.
Exactly. The beard said so.
Pisses me right off. Here's something on. Okay, these 2 trials are stupid, and what an amazing distraction tactic for everybody. It's a perfect time for this to be happening. Something I heard that's actually quite fascinating is this whole Harry and Meghan thing.
I want to shoot myself. You said that.
I got the insider scoop on why it's happening.
Okay, interesting.
There was obviously quite a bit of fallout over Prince Andrew and the Epstein thing.
Yes.
So the Queen had a secret meeting with Prince Andrew and said, okay, you're out. You're done. Go away. Yeah. The family wants nothing to do with you. Go away.
Yeah.
Andrew came back with, oh, cool. Then I can say whatever I want to the media about Harry and Meghan and all the shit that's gone on with them. Because I'm not part of the family anymore, right? So I can go to the media and just say whatever I want about anything. So the Queen was like, okay, wait a minute, because I guess he's got all this dirt on how Meghan's been unhappy and never wanted to be there and all this shit. So the Queen called in all of them and just said, okay, we can't have blackmail shit hanging out, so all 3 of you piss off.
So it's the Queen that's actually kicked them out.
Yeah. She was just like, okay, Andrew says he's got shit about you, and I don't even want to deal with that. We got to deal with the Epstein. All of you go away. The royal family is not having anything to do with any of this. You can all just go on your merry way. So
wow.
It wasn't their choice. They're not happy about it, and they're just going to go. Now, obviously, they're going to get like a reality show out of it, or whatever they want.
Yeah.
But
no, I know that the biggest news today right now is that they're not going to be using their Royal Highness or whatever moniker.
Yeah. No.
That's gone.
But it is not. It's not the triumphant, oh, we want to make our own way. It's like, no, the Queen told you to pound sand because you're causing shit.
See, as soon as you brought that up, I thought you were going to say that that they left strictly because of the shame that Andrew brought over onto the family. He's like, fuck this. I don't want to be anything part of this fucking family. If this guy's fucking kids, I'm out. That's it. I'm done. That's what I thought. That's what I was hoping you were going to say. But
no.
No,
it was just Andrew said they tried to boot him out. He's like, all right, I know that you're a bitch and you're a pussy whip chump now. I'm going to go talk shit about you all the time because grandma's kicking me out.
Wow.
I guess it's not grandma. It's like his sister or something, whatever.
Either way.
But
if it was his way, he'd probably be wishes his wife too. But yeah.
She's 132 years old. She's everybody's grandma.
Yeah, it's true.
Wow. She's been the queen now for over 150 years.
Jesus, and she looks every fucking second of it too.
She doesn't look bad for 152 years old.
Doesn't look a day over 130.
Not even close.
Now,
yeah, it's just you gotta imagine like she's constantly dealing with this shit. Her whole life is just imagine what goes on that doesn't make it into the news.
Oh my God!
You know how many Epstein type cases do we not hear about that someone like her has to deal with? And so like, even just the heads of companies or the Hollywood studios, or you know how many Weinsteins aren't in the news today? That these companies deal with all the time, and you get no wonder. I can't imagine she must drink just a tremendous amount every day.
She probably and I bet you the whole thing is I bet you she's one of those people that like kills children for their essence and youth.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But just you think we've heard about like the worst of the worst. Every once in a while they throw one in the news and then it distracts us from the other 100 that are going on.
Yep.
And so we get an Epstein and we get a Weinstein, and just coincidentally 2 Jews. Just saying. Oh, what a shock. We're still doing that.
Right.
But there's got to be 99 more that we didn't hear about last year.
Mm-hmm.
You know, for every Kevin Spacey that gets thrown under the bus, there's 10 that don't make the news because they're not as interesting or whatever. And these people that have to deal with this on a regular basis, like, you know, there's people in Weinstein's circle that knew what was going on.
Oh, absolutely.
And you got to imagine there's a handful of people that just went every week. We're like, come on, Harvey, not again.
Right?
What are you doing? You're worth all the money in the world and you're old and gross. You gotta quit banging 20-year-olds.
No. I got more money than God. It's fine.
And same with like I don't know, the Epsteins and their planes full of perverts. Like, tone it down. You don't get to live like the Rat Pack when you're buggering little kids. Like, just shut up and keep it to yourself. Stop bringing attention to it. Like, in no time is this going to be cool. You're not going to look like Sinatra when you're
right.
Little kids. So, like, I don't know. They like all came out with it kind of like, all right, look, we got this. It's not going to become a tourist attraction. Oh, what? These guys have an island full of little kids they fuck? Let's make this okay.
Do they have rides? Well, kinda.
I don't get it. I don't get the world. I don't get how that's like what we cover up. And then our big stories are Gwyneth Paltrow's vagina.
Yeah, well, I do have an international story for you that I find pretty interesting, and I would love to hear your take on that.
They're all interesting.
That can be true, but not always. Berlin, a Munich court on Monday convicted a German man of more than a dozen offenses of attempted murder for tricking women and girls into giving themselves electric shocks while he watched over the internet.
Now, I'm sorry. If you tricked over a dozen women into giving themselves electric shocks, that's a funny TV show in my mind.
No, I am 100% behind you on this because I'm still trying to figure, because apparently what he did was he's a 31-year-old guy who he contacted the women and girls as young as 13 online over a 5-year period, claiming to be a doctor seeking paid volunteers for a medical experiment in pain perception. He then persuaded them to attach a homemade contraption to the electricity mains and their extremities while he watched and issued instructions. None of the victims were ever paid.
Well, were you really waiting for the money after you figured that out? Like, is that the part you're upset about when you didn't die? Well, you didn't even pay me.
Well, I can guarantee you that he didn't pay me thing. That's the reason this went to where it went. That's what it all started with. It was like, well, it's